What's up, gamers? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to play Buck in Rainbow Six Siege. Before we go any further, there are links to my Twitch and Twitter in the description below, so make sure you go check those out. So Buck is a 2-speed 2-armor attacking operator whose special ability is the skeleton key, which you see right here. It's the second barrel. It's an underbarrel shotgun that is used to basically like Sledge's hammer. It's a second Sledge basically, except you can open up holes from a farther distance rather than having to be right on top of the hole. Going more in depth to his guns, he has the C8, which is one of the best guns in the game. It does have a lot of recoil though, so you have to practice it for sure. Or the Cameras, which is a DMR. I don't really recommend DMRs in this game just because fire rate is very important. His pistol's actually really good, the MK1. Arguably one of the best pistols in the game, so it's not a bad one to be stuck with. And he either has stun grenades or a claymore. I recommend bringing stun grenades, especially in the meta of having so much utility. But in this video, we're going to be talking about how to play Buck and the mindset you should have while you play him. So quickly talking about Buck, he used to be one of the strongest attack operators in the game. Well, one of the strongest operators in general overall. He used to have frag grenades instead of a claymore, so he had frag grenades and stun grenades, but those got taken away. And that was a really big issue for a lot of players. But if you think about it, he has one of the best guns in the game with an ACOG. He can open up 26 holes with the skeleton key, and he has frag grenades. That sounds pretty broken. Of course, Buck had frag grenades since the beginning of the game, and so everybody was used to it and didn't really complain too much. But this video is mainly going to be targeted towards Buck's skeleton key, right? So what's really interesting about the skeleton key as opposed to Sledge's sledgehammer is you can buck upstairs, right? You can buck above you. It's a little bit more difficult to sledge above you. You need to get on something, and then you have to be in melee distance of where you're trying to hit. But with Buck, you can get above you. You want to be creative with your Buck angles. Lots of players, when they're trying to get the attic wall, which is right up over here, if there's Thatcher Band and they don't want to bring a Kali, they will either Zofia, Ash, or Buck down here. But the issue is that hatch can see into this door. So while you're focused getting the gadget off the wall, you can easily get shot from that hatch. So I saw this, I think it was in Canadian Pro League, is a way to get the floor from behind this wall. You can shoot through the wall up into the floor. And as you can obviously see, you shoot into the attic and you're still pretty protected because they would need to be prone to be able to hit you or be spraying through a wall. So that's a lot safer than standing in the exposed doorway. And as you see, obviously you can see from the attic up into the wall, so you would get any gadget off the wall. But with Buck's skeleton key, there's a very good thing you can do, and that's play from 2 floors, right? With Sledge, if to open that hatch, you would need to be right next to it. But with Buck, you can be all the way up here, and that's really good because you can't get nitro celled, because there's just no possible way that nitro cell can be thrown all the way up to here. But also, you can watch angles from like nobody would expect you to be up here. They would probably expect you to be around the hatch as opposed to far up here, especially with an ACOG. I actually found this angle not too long ago. Is from up here, you can open up this attic floor, and if you open up that hatch, you can watch into, I don't know what that room's called, but it's the objective. I usually just call that B site, but that's where the default plan is, and this is like a small electrical room. Somebody calls this box, and it's a pretty big rotate if you're trying to push pillar, which is about right here. There's a wall right there people usually try and get, so somebody might swing out of there, and you can watch the rotate, either a roamer rotating, or if somebody's trying to swing out of the site into pillar, or go from pillar back into the objective. And also at the skeleton key, you can watch your flank. You can watch the flank up pillar stairs, or even if you're attacking attic, you can watch the flank coming up not pillars, yeah, coming up pillar stairs, coming up tower stairs to flank you in attic. So there's a lot of different ways you can use the skeleton key. That's one example for using it from kind of 2 floors. Lots of people with the skeleton key, they will just use it through 1 wall, just like this, and watch this. But if you're able to get creative, like something like this is a lot harder to win, especially if you're fighting a hollow through a wall and a floor against an ACOG holding a pretty good angle. Same thing with this. This is going to be very, very difficult for somebody with a hollow to win because they're just going to be running by, and Buck will be able to see them before the defender can see the Buck player. So that you can also do this with like a Sledge, just opening up the hatch. You would need to have somebody else do it unless you want to open the hatch and come up here. But this is just something Buck can do all by himself. is watch all the way down into the hatch, watch your flank. Lots of different ways to play Buck. Another really good thing I like to do with Buck that I feel a lot of people don't do, kind of going on to that same one wall mentality, is I feel people don't really use Buck's gadget from a distance, right? This will usually be reinforced, but you can also buck into this wall and there would be a rotate back there. I feel like people, at least when I'm playing, so yeah, one second, let's make this rotate really quick. There will usually 9 out of 10 times be a rotate right here, right? So this is very strong, especially as a Buck player. If you have an ACOG, you can be literally all the way back here and you can watch the rotate, right? Of course, you probably want to buck the wall a little bit more, maybe be a little bit closer, but either way, you can watch the rotate all the way from back here. The rotate might even be more to the right and make this a lot easier to hold. So imagine you're trying to execute and plant onto this side. Actually, let's say you're planting in this corner. You have somebody watch through the bunk bed towards trophy, and you know the last player's attic. They can't rotate out, especially if you're upside down rappel. If you upside down rappel, open up the top of the wall, right? You upside down rappel, and you're just watching the rotate. The defender is not going to win this. This is a very, very winnable fight for Buck and very, very difficult for the defender to win. But the last thing I want to talk about with Buck Skeleton Key is using it as a weapon, right? One of my favorite things to do with Buck, just because it has a secondary shotgun as the Skeleton Key, is you can like kind of pop flash like in Counter-Strike, but when you flash, it takes about almost 3 seconds for it to go off, right? So in those 3 seconds, let's say you know somebody's tucked close in this corner, equip the Skeleton Key, bounce a flash grenade off the wall, right? And just like that, I'll just do it without the Skeleton Key so I don't waste my last shot. But you can bounce it off the wall, swing, and the usual response when somebody sees a flashbang, like I did to the first flashbang, is you turn away from it or you try and move, right? So when you throw a flashbang, bounce it off the wall, somebody's either going to be caught looking away or trying to get away from the flashbang. And that's when you swing. You have about 2 seconds. If you like go in motion, if you go in rhythm with the flash grenade, you could probably kill them. So that's just a little thing I like to do, especially with Buck's Skeleton Key, because it's like a 2-shot, especially to somebody like a Vigil or a 1 armor. You just bounce off the wall, swing 2 shots with your Skeleton Key. You might get blinded, but then you fall back to here. And even if they want to push this doorway, you still have the Skeleton Key, you still have the shotgun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Just quickly recapping. Buck is very strong, 2-speed, 2-armor attack operator. You can use the Skeleton Key for clearing multiple different floors. This is a really good angle here. You can watch the flank from downstairs to upstairs, or like T2 up to T3, T1 up to T2. So there's different things you can do with Buck. This is a very good angle to win with. This is another good one. You can hold distant angles at distance. Good maps you can do these kind of two level plays on. Bank is good for playing the hatch, playing admin hatch. You can play it with Buck all the way from janitor. He's good on clubhouse. You can play all the way from logistics through kitchen floor into arsenal. That's what I think it was Rampy on Space Station Gaming. I saw him do that back at the invite, and it's really strong just because you can't get nitro celled as easily or at all. So those are just a couple ways to play Buck, using his gun, using his Skeleton Key mainly to open up good lines of sight, to be able to watch like rotates, cover the diffuser, cover pretty much anything you need. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. I stream pretty much every day, link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and peace out, gamers.